Kelowna Real Estate has 14 months of inventory right now, and we're firmly in a buyer's market. That means that only 1 out of every 14 properties listed is selling in a given month, or that 13 out of 14 properties are not selling each month. So you're probably wondering, what does that mean for prices? In this video, we'll dive into what's going on in the Kelowna real estate market right now and what you can expect to pay for the average home. And make sure you stick around until the end, because I'll let you know how you can put yourself in the best position to sell your home, even in a buyer's market like this. The benchmark price of a home in Kelowna has dipped 14% from the peak that we saw 2 years ago, but more recently has started to stabilize despite an abundance of inventory and lower than average number of sales. There seems to be some resistance for the benchmark price to dip much lower. But before we get into this month's market update, I'm Tyrell Boake, a realtor in Kelowna, and on this channel, I help you navigate the real estate market and provide you with useful information so you can make informed decisions that make sense for you. If you're looking to buy or sell in Kelowna or the Okanagan area, you can hit the first link in the description to book a discovery call with me at a time that works best for you. And if you'd like to stay up to date on the local real estate market, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss out on future videos. Starting with the number of sales, you can see that sales are down about 12% year to date from what they were last year. Last year, the market started fairly normally, and then we hit the Bank of Canada rate increases, which really slowed down sales activity. This year, we've seen 3 BOC rate decreases, but it hasn't had a significant impact on the number of sales in the market. There is another rate announcement in October, but we'll have to wait and see if the BOC cuts rates again and what impact that will have on the market. One thing that stands out to me here too is that in August and September we had lower sales in 2024 than we did in 2023, and if you remember back to a year ago, there was a couple of weeks where there really wasn't any real estate transactions going on because we had a wildfire right here in the community. That really slowed down the market, but as you can see, in 2024, we haven't even surpassed the numbers that we did during last year's wildfire season. As I mentioned earlier, we have an abundance of inventory, and in fact, it's up 36% from what it was this time last year. That number has stabilized just over 4,000 available properties over the last 4 months, but it's significantly higher than we had at this time last year. Starting with the benchmark price of a single-family home, you can see that it remains unchanged from August to September, going down only about $100. Even looking year over year, the benchmark price of a single-family home has gone up a little bit. You may be wondering why we're in a buyer's market and prices are staying the same or going up just slightly. And the reason for that is it takes quite a bit of time of being in a buyer's market to see a significant impact or downward pressure on prices. And I just don't think we've had high inventory in the single family home sector quite long enough to bring prices down. It certainly has stabilized prices over the last few months, but it hasn't had enough pressure on it to come down. That being said, if we look at the graph of the benchmark price over the last 3 years, you can see that the price is down 13.8% from the peak that we saw in the spring of 2022, and it's also down 5.4% from the other peak that we saw in the summer of 2023. You can see that prices dropped significantly in the last half of last year and bottomed out in December, but as a matter of fact, through 2024, prices are actually up 4.7% from where they started and have stabilized over the last 2 or 3 months. Going back over the last 5 years, you can see that the benchmark price is up significantly from where it was in 2019, but a lot of that growth happened from 2019 to 2021, and you can see that today's prices are basically back to where we were in the fall of 2021. Moving on to the townhome market, you can see that there's not much change here as well, with the price in September being up 0.3% from what it was in August. However, if we go out back over last year, you can see that the benchmark price of a townhome is down 4.7% year over year, down to $725,000. Taking a look at the benchmark price graph over roughly the last 3 years, you can see there's been a lot of up and downs in the townhome market. It is down from the peak that we saw in the spring of 2022, but over this year it's stabilized and maybe it's gone up a little bit since the end of 2023. Going back out over the last 5 years though, you can see, just like in the single family homes, the price is up significantly from where it was in 2019, and prices today are back to where they were in the middle of 2021. Taking a look at the condo market, you can see that there's no change in the benchmark price over the last month. Then taking a look at what it's done over the last year, you can see it's up 4.6% year over year from what it was last September. And looking at the benchmark price graph over the last 3 years, you can see it's behaved much in the same way as the rest of the market, having stabilized over the last few months. And going back over 5 years, again, we're up since 2019, but prices are the same as they were if we go all the way back to the middle of 2021. I wanted to take a look at the average price of a condo as well, because I do think that in that sector of the market, the benchmark's not telling us the whole story, and there might be some more information that we can find if we look at the average. The average price of a condo is unchanged month over month, and it's sitting at $460,000. This is below what the benchmark price is. What this tells me is the majority of the activity that's going on in the condo market is condos that are selling that are priced below the benchmark price. And if we go out over last year, you can see that the average price is actually down 13% from what it was this time last year. Moving on to the average days to sell, you can see that on average it takes 56 days for a single family detached home to sell, which is about the same as it was the month before. Townhomes are taking 63 days to sell, which is up over the last 30 days, and condos are taking on average 57 days to sell. And then the price ratio at roughly 96%. This is the ratio of what the final selling price is to the last list price of a property that sells. This tells us that on average, buyers are getting a discount from the list price of anywhere from 4 to 5% on average. As I mentioned earlier, we have 14 months of inventory for single-family detached homes, which puts us firmly into a buyer's market. The townhome market also has 11 months of available inventory, and in the condo market, we have 8.5 months of available inventory. So like I was saying earlier, there should be some downward pressure on prices because we're in a buyer's market. But I don't think that we've been in this buyer's market long enough, especially in the townhomes and the single family market, to see a significant downward pressure on prices. Prices have stabilized, so that's good news, is that they're not going up. But if more buyers start to come into the market, those months of inventory will start to deplete and we could return to a balanced market. So you're probably asking yourself, is now a good time to buy? One of the reasons that it possibly could be a good time for you to buy right now is that the 5-year CMHC insured fixed mortgage rate has dipped from 5.79% this time last year to 4.39% this year if you qualify. That's a savings of $82 a month per $100,000 that you've borrowed. So if you take the benchmark price of $505,000, you would be saving approximately $400 per month over what you'd be paying for the same mortgage last year. And keep in mind that if you're buying below that benchmark price, you're probably saving even more because you're saving on the selling price and on your interest costs. Now, let's say you're not in the market to buy a condo and you're more looking for a single family home, but you don't want to spend what the benchmark price is. The good news is if you look at the sales volume for this year, between $700,000 and $1 million, there's been over 500 transactions this year. That means that there's a lot of choices and a lot of opportunities for you to get into a good single family home without having to spend as much as the benchmark. So we are firmly in a buyer's market right now in Kelowna Real Estate, with some buyers and sellers still having a bit of a standoff over the current prices. Homes are bought and sold every day though, even at the current price levels, just not at the same volume that we maybe saw 2 years ago. There is a lot of resistance for prices to come down much more, and if buyers or more buyers enter the market, that trend could continue. It's quite possible that we're at the bottom or near the bottom of this pricing cycle, and I do think that throughout the rest of the year, things are going to stay much the same that they are now. If you're looking to sell in this buyer's market and you want to put yourself in the best position to be one of the 14 homes that sell in any given month, there's a few things that you can do. When it comes to selling a home, we follow what are called the 3 Ps, and that's product, promotion, and price. And your offering needs to be compelling enough to not only get people in the door, but also encourage them to write an offer. To cover the first P, make sure your product is going to show well. Declutter your space, repaint if you have to, and make sure that it stays clean. And also don't ignore any of those small repairs that need to be done. When it comes to promotion, make sure you're working with a real estate agent that has a proven marketing plan and they know that it works. Simply putting your product on the MLS doesn't work anymore. You need to work with an agent who's going to insist on magazine-worthy photography, videography, and has a strong social media presence to get your property in front of as many eyes and as many buyers as possible. And when it comes to price, you need to be realistic. In a buyer's market like this, there's no try to sell your property. You either want to sell it or you don't, and that needs to be reflected in your pricing. If you aren't priced in the top 3 of similar products, your showings are going to be few and far between, and you're probably not going to get an offer. Because even in a buyer's market, the good ones sell first.